Okay, we're back on the roof, which means it must be our review of the year.
This is the Media Snack Top 10. M is for?
M is for Marc.
Yeah.
I know we talk a lot about Marc Pritchard, but 2018, yet again, Marc Pritchard started the year off very strong. If you remember in 2017, we talked a lot about, he laid out P&G's 5-step action plan for media. In 2018 was when he raised really that narrative, and when he started talking about P&G taking back control.
Yeah.
Hands on the keyboards, it was what he said, and in fact, really that's just set an agenda for the rest of the year, and we've seen more and more and heard more and more marketers talk about control, taking control of media. So that's the first one. E is for?
Effectiveness. Les Binet and Peter
Yep.
Fields, two highly regarded academics, issued a report called Effectiveness in Context.
Yeah.
Really a brilliant piece of research.
Yep.
And essentially it talked about the power of mass marketing.
Yeah.
And in particular, it talked about television still being the most impactful medium
Yeah.
to drive return.
Yeah. It's excellent. We'll link to that because it's definitely something worth reading, and it says the power of investing in brands,
Absolutely.
which we all kind of knew, I guess.
D is for?
D is for the Department of Justice.
Yeah.
In the US. As you may well know, as expected, they launched or have launched an investigation now officially into media buying practice in the US on the back of the ANA's media transparency findings. We'll link to an episode we've done. We've talked about this in depth, that the ANA is encouraging their members, so the leading marketers in the US, to collaborate with the FBI.
Yep.
So the DOJ can take a point of view on media rebate practice. Okay, I is for?
In-housing.
Yes.
So
What a buzzword.
Well,
that is.
absolutely. Everybody
Yeah.
still talks about it. And in-housing is bringing in responsibilities of media into client organizations. In some cases, in the case of Vodafone, they brought their entire programmatic buying operation in-house.
Yep.
But almost without exceptions, clients are talking about how to in-house media in the future. So that's not going to go away.
No, and we'll be talking a lot more about in-housing in the coming weeks.
Yeah. A is for?
Yeehaw! It's for America. You may be aware, if you're a loyal viewer of Media Snack, that this year we launched our business into the US. We now have an operation in New York, and we're moving and recruiting new members of the team there. It's a really exciting time. You know, we've just been talking about the stuff that the DOJ is doing, the ANA, a very powerful force, the 4As. You know, it's the home of the world's biggest brands, and that we're seeing such significant change, particularly in media. I'm very excited to be a part of that. S is for?
S4C, Sir Martin Sorrell or Sorrell?
Lots of S's.
Lots of S's.
Success as well, maybe.
Well, absolutely. So S4C is the new entity by which Sir Martin Sorrell will be taking on WPP.
Yep.
Happened also quickly this year. He's already spent a fortune buying two big digital companies. Who would bet against him next year?
Yeah, okay, well, something definitely to keep an eye on.
N is for?
N is for new business.
Yeah.
It's been another busy year for pitches, really almost equaling, I think, the Mediapalooza of 2015. It's been incredibly busy. The thing that's been, I think, significantly different from 2015, if we draw a comparison, is that media pitches and reviews this year are far more strategic, are focused on far better KPIs, really less driving cost than we've seen before.
Yeah.
And that's really good. And we've seen a lot more very senior marketers and CMOs involved in pitches like never before,
Yeah.
and that's been a very good thing. The other new business story is some research that we've been doing with the 4As, which is the agency's trade body in the US. And we'll link to the research that we did, looking at how the pitch process itself, or the new business process for agencies, can be massively improved and reduce those pain points. Right, A is for?
Amazon.
Yep.
Love Amazon. And we continue to believe that this is going to be an absolute game changer. They're making huge inroads into advertising share. They're now the third largest platform in terms of digital ad revenue. And we predict that it will still overcome Facebook and Google in the future.
Not Google, maybe, but
I do.
Facebook by 2020, I think was our prediction. But I mean, you make your own decision. Let us know.
C is for?
C is for CMO, Chief Marketing Officer, or Chief Brand Officer in the case of Marc Pritchard. This is the year for media when CMOs are really taking media seriously. I mean, it's been championed a lot by Marc Pritchard, particularly in that role. But almost every project now and every major change is coming from a CMO downwards, and CMOs are successfully changing the narrative. Not everywhere, and we want to see more of this, but we're experiencing CMOs talking about media as a driver for growth.
Absolutely.
And not a cost to be managed downwards, and that is a really significant landmark this year. Right, finally, K. We always struggle a bit with K.
Not this year.
No.
Keith Weed.
Yep.
So Keith Weed, the global CMO of Unilever, a 30-year veteran of the Unilever business, announced he's retiring. And I mean, he's been a massive kind of advocate of marketing. He's almost been a softer voice of marketing, perhaps in comparison to Marc Pritchard, his counterpoint at Procter & Gamble. Perhaps not quite as vocal when it comes to media issues as Marc has been in recent years, but he will be surely missed within the marketing community. Yeah,
and achieved a huge amount. And I think one of the big things is he's encouraged brands to think about sustainability, inclusion, diversity. That's been his big champion. It's really consumer facing, and less much perhaps about the industry at large.
So, media person of the year.
Well, this is a big one, and we've been discussing this as a team a lot recently. In 2016, our media person of the year was Bob Liodice from the A&A, very well deserved. 2017 was Marc Pritchard, where he announced his action plan. So we've got a lot to live up to. There are a few contenders, but actually my nomination is going to be Mark Zuckerberg, which may be a little bit controversial, but I think maybe unintentionally, what Marc, particularly Marc's company, has done has triggered incredible scrutiny this year of media, where media dollars flow, the impact on consumers, the responsibilities that we have as advertisers in a multi-billion-dollar, trillion-dollar industry to support platforms and the dissemination of news and all this kind of thing. So it's brought under the spotlight a real painful discussion, but it will lead us to a better place. And I think it's encouraged marketers to really think about how they invest dollars and how they support platforms like this. So unintentionally, Marc and his company have kind of triggered this discussion, but it will get us into a better place. So he's my person of the year.
Congratulations, Mark Zuckerberg.
Yeah. Right, and finally, then looking ahead.
Yes, my favorite bit.
Our word of the year for next year, for 2019. Now.
So I'm going to go backwards a little bit. So 3 years ago, we had control.
Yep.
Then we had change.
Yes.
This year has been action.
Yep. Lots of action.
And our word for 2019 is going to be growth.
Growth.
So a lot of this year was about kind of purging perhaps some of the poorer elements of the business, moving away from procurement-driven media. Next year is all about setting media higher growth KPIs.
Yeah, exactly.
Making it more responsible for driving business growth.
Yeah.
And so our word of the year for next year is growth.
Indeed, that's it. Growth is a KPI, and our industry will flourish if we can all focus on that being the main driver of what we do. Right, so before we blow away, that is your Media Snack review of the year. Thank you very much for watching.
See you next year.